Good morning, friends. Welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. I'm trying to stay warm out here in my hammock chair with my blanket and my hat. I love being able to do these videos out on the porch, but it does get a little bit nippy sometimes. So first off, an update on how things are going with my regular day lean day experiment. I, for the month of November, have been doing 3 lean days a week. And what I mean by lean days is just what it sounds like, just lowering the fat. So I have my regular ketovore keto diet that has a good high amount of protein, a moderate amount of fat, very low in carbs. And then when I do a lean day, all I do is I reduce the amount of fat. I still try to get in tons of protein, probably even more than on my regular days. Carbs also stay really low, same as my regular days. Just the main thing that I focus on is lowering the fat for the day, and that is just to help my body burn excess body fat. So when I lower the fat that I'm eating, the hope is that my body would make up the difference with body fat. So my body never goes into any kind of starvation mode as long as my body is primed to burn body fat, and as long as it has body fat to burn, which it does, my calorie needs are met by my body making up the difference, and that results in weight loss. But this past week, since I have been busy with getting ready for Thanksgiving, there were a couple of Thanksgiving related recipe videos that I wanted to get done. I was doing a lot of recipe testing and shooting videos. I was not feeling the lean days this week, and so I didn't do them. I think maybe I did one lean day this week, but then I would kind of start on a lean day and I'd get into it and be like, this feels too restrictive, I'm not going to do it today. And so I didn't. And if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I do not enjoy restriction and I try to avoid it at all costs. And by restriction, I don't necessarily mean restriction of types of food that I'm eating, because you could describe my diet as a very restrictive diet since I don't eat a lot of carbs. Right now, I don't even eat dairy. I don't eat nuts. There's tons of things I don't eat that I restrict from my diet. But when I use the term restriction, I'm talking about feeling restricted. And for me, the differentiation between those two types of restriction is huge, because I will tell you, I have been on diets where I could eat all kinds of food. Even when I wasn't on a diet, like I'd be eating whatever I want, but my body was so riddled with hunger and cravings that I felt restricted, like, because I was never fully satisfied. I'd eat and I'd think, oh, this sounds good, and I'd eat it, and then I'd need something else and eat that, but I never quite got that satisfaction. So even though I was totally unrestricted in the types of food or the amount of food I could eat, I felt restricted or unsatisfied. But now on my ketovore diet, when I do restrict carbohydrates and I restrict myself to the foods that I know my body does the best with, I actually feel less restricted, because I actually get to that point of satisfaction where I feel like my body has what it needs and I'm full and I don't crave and don't need anything else. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what I'm talking about when I say I don't like restriction. I'm not talking about specific types of foods being restricted. I'm talking about me feeling like I want something that I can't have. So this week when I would start a lean day, I felt like I don't really want to do that today. Like, I was on a lean day when I was cooking that sausage apple cranberry stuffing that I showed you guys in the video yesterday. And I totally could have just tasted 1 or 2 bites of that and it's still, my lean day still would have worked out fine. It would have fit into a lean day okay. But I wanted to eat a serving of it. It looked really good. It was tasty. It was fresh and hot, and I really wanted to eat it. And so I didn't want to feel like I was restricting myself from that food that I wanted to eat. So I said, fine, I'll just do a higher fat day today. And then I thought, because I did the higher fat day that day, that maybe the next day I would do a low fat day, and it just didn't ever work out. And so I ended up only doing 1 low fat or lean day this past week, but I still lost a pound. So I am at a new low of 153.4. See, I have to do the math to figure out how much down that is total, because my starting weight was 165.1 and that was just like 8 weeks ago. So I think I did the math in my head right, that I am down 11.7 pounds in the past 8 weeks. And it's kind of shocking to me. I think I'd have to go back and check for sure, but I think every single week since I have started dairy-free and then started the lean days, I have lost weight. That's totally shocking to me because my weight was so stuck before this. Literally, I was in the mid 160s for the past 3 years, like since Levi weaned. That's where I have been. And I've been eating a healthy diet. I've attempted a few times to do something to help stimulate my body to lose weight, but it wasn't the right time. It didn't really work out. And honestly, I really thought that I was just destined. I was like, I'm getting older. My body has a set point now of in the mid 160s, and that's just where I'm going to be. So to have dropped almost 12 pounds in 8 weeks after these, I'm not going to say they were easy tweaks, but simple tweaks and doable tweaks. I'm just totally shocked by that. I do think I worked really hard to get my body ready to lose weight so that when I did implement those tweaks, that my body was really ready. If I had implemented these tweaks at a different time, I may not have had the same results. So it all just kind of lined up and worked out so that my body was ready and the timing was right and things are just falling into place. So anyways, that is how this past week has gone and what's going on. So tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I'm definitely planning on doing a high fat day tomorrow, and I'll talk about like special things I might eat tomorrow. And then I'm just going to play it by ear after that. I may be really ready to jump into some lean days after the big Thanksgiving feast. That's a possibility, but I'm just going to listen to my body and just take it day by day. It will be the, week before my period at that point. So things get a little bit dicey around there. So I'm just going to play it by ear. I'm not making any commitments to a specific number of lean days. I feel like I'm pretty in tune with my body and how I do on the lean days. So I'll know if I feel like I need to do a lean day, and we'll just go from there. So as far as plans for Thanksgiving and treats and, indulging, I think that feasts are a very important part of the human experience. I'm not one of those that thinks that we should have our diets should look the same every single day and a holiday should just be the same as any other day. I think that feasts are, Freddie wants to say hi. I think feasts are just important for us, for celebration, for community, for coming together, like eating, not necessarily overeating, although maybe eating more than normal, but just really enjoying delicious food with each other, sharing food with each other. So enjoying what someone else has made and sharing what you have made. I just think that's a really beautiful thing. So for me, I am not concerned about eating perfect foods all the time as if that's the highest priority. I think the types of food that I eat, I have to think about my mental health, not just my physical health, but my mental health, like my social health, like my community health. What do the foods that I eat do to build all the different kinds of health that I have in my body? So maybe eating something that I know is physically not as healthy as it could be is actually benefiting me in my community health. I'm getting to partake with the people around me. I'm getting to receive a gift that someone maybe made for me. And I'm just getting to enjoy all of the things that come with eating together and eating delicious food. I definitely have not always been at this place. I've gone down the road of trying to eat the perfect diet and thinking if I just always picked the perfect foods every time I ate, that everything would be good, my health would be good, and I don't know, magic would happen. But I really have found that that's not true. And actually for me, there are times where it is healthier for me to eat a less healthy food. So all that being said, I am not looking to keep my diet perfect in a nutrient sense. It will be perfect because it'll be what I need for my health holistically all parts of my health, but there will be some treats. So I have been without dairy for about 8 weeks now, and I'm thinking that I will allow myself to have dairy. I haven't decided everything that I am going to make. I expect that there will be butter in some things, maybe butter in the Brussels sprouts that I bake. I'll see about that. Maybe some Parmesan cheese with the Brussels sprouts and the butternut squash, because I'm going to roast those together. And then I was considering making a low-carb cheesecake for the dessert table. There's going to be all kinds of desserts that I will not partake in. I'm not opposed to eating a little bit of sugar. That might be shocking to some of you. But I am opposed, for me, to eating any kind of wheat. I do not do well with wheat. Celiac disease runs in my family. It makes me feel terrible, and that is not an indulgence that I am willing to have. So I'm thinking I might make that low-carb cheesecake, maybe have some whipped cream on that. I did get ice cream, but I'm thinking I will forego that because just the amount of sugar. I haven't decided what kind of cheesecake. It might just be plain, although I do have some Lily's chocolate chips that would be really yummy, like a chocolate chip cheesecake. I could also do a pumpkin cheesecake. I haven't decided, but I'm going to be working on that today. So that will be a big treat for me. I'm going to be making the egg white bread stuffing like I showed you in the video yesterday, so I'll be able to have that. My brother is making a deep fried turkey and a smoked turkey. My other brother is making a New York strip loin roast, I think. I think he's smoking it. There's going to be some incredible meat, so I will be able to fill up on lots of protein, which I'm super excited about. I will indulge in Brussels sprouts and butternut squash probably. Like, that's a big indulgence for me, but I will enjoy that. They are homegrown squash here from our farm, so definitely not going to pass that up. Oh, and then the last thing that I will indulge in that is definitely not keto is the bacon wrapped dates. We make those at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they are a family favorite. Oh, they're so good. That is one thing that I could easily overdo. So I try to think, like, if I want to indulge in something like that, I try to think about ahead of time, like how much I'm going to have. So I'm not like in the middle of it, just popping one after the other without thinking. And so I think what I'm going to do is allow myself to have 2. I think that's very reasonable and moderate. They do have sugar in them, but it's Thanksgiving. It's a holiday. It's a feast. I'm enjoying our family traditions. And if I can do that without going overboard, I think it's a total win. And I also wanted to mention that I am not at the place where one bite of off-plan food or, sugar or starch totally derails me. There are some people at some points in their journey where it's almost like an alcoholic with alcohol, and they can't even have one bite. There are even people who can't even have a bite of like a keto treat that's made with allulose or erythritol or stevia because it triggers them so badly. And I will tell you that I am not at that place anymore. And I told you in a video, a Wellness Wednesday, quite a while ago about how I'm a different person when I eat ketovore. And it's totally true. If I have been eating my regular ketovore diet and my body is in a good place hormonally, like my hunger hormones are in check, all of my schmeck is in check, then I am actually able to eat a few bites of something like sugar or with starch, and it doesn't trigger me. That's a very short amount of time that I can handle that. It's like one meal with a few bites of something. If I make it 2 meals, I turn into a different person. My appetite, my hunger, my cravings take over, and it's completely different. But for example, a couple months ago, there was a birthday party, and there were a couple new flavors of kettle chips that I had never tried before, and I wanted to try them. So I ate one of each flavor, 2 chips. I was able to eat those and experience the flavor and, partake in that with everybody. And then I was able to completely move on. I stayed on what I know my body does well with for the rest of the day, and it didn't consume my thoughts or anything. So this is where we all really need to know ourselves and know our limits and recognize if we're at the place where we need to completely abstain and not even have a hint of any of that kind of thing, or if we're able to handle a little bit. And I don't think anyone can make that decision for you. No plan creator or anything like that can decide for you. These kittens are being crazy down here, knocking my tripod. Nobody can decide for you what you can handle and what you can't, and what would be good for your health, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, communal, than you. You are the one that gets to decide that. Okay, come here, you crazy thing. All right, so now Maple is here to visit, and Cedar was here just a second ago. All the kittens are being crazy. So there's a popular thing that people talk about being an abstainer versus a moderator. And I don't necessarily agree with such a black and white differentiation. People will say that there's only abstainers and only moderators, and if you say you're a mixture of both, then you are actually an abstainer and you're just trying to fool yourself. And I don't believe that. I used to be what I would consider an abstainer, where I couldn't even have a bite of something, and because it would trigger me and I would only be thinking about that food. But I really don't think I'm like that anymore. I don't think I'm fooling myself. Maybe I am, you guys. Maybe I'm fooling myself. But it's been a while now, and I can have a bite of something here or there. I know my limits. I know that if I just went off the rails and ate certain foods for a long time, that I would get myself back to that point where I couldn't handle a bite without going off the rails. But where I'm at now, I feel like I could be a moderator. I just need to know how much my body can handle, how much moderation my body can handle. Anyways, I just think the abstainer moderator thing is a little too simplistic, and I think it's a little more complicated. At least I have found it has been a little more complicated for me personally. I know that for some people, kind of like with the whole alcoholic mindset, where once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, and you can never have one sip. I understand that that works for some people, and that's kind of the mindset that you need to go with. Kind of like saying, I am always an abstainer, I will never be a moderator. But for me, I think I found more healing than that, and I've been able to overcome some of those food issues so that I don't think that about myself forever. Anyways, those are just some thoughts. So that is my plan for Thanksgiving. Going to eat stuff that makes me feel good. Going to eat stuff that is good for my health, all the different aspects of my health, and I'm just going to enjoy a Thanksgiving with my family, eating good food, feasting on delicious meat and various treats, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'd love to chat down in the comments about how you guys are doing. Do you think you are an abstainer where you can't even touch anything that's off the keto plan on Thanksgiving? Or are you able to indulge a little bit? Where are you guys at? I'd love to hear, and what your plans are for how you're going to eat on Thanksgiving. It's an important thing to think about and to have a plan so that you're not in the middle of it, just reacting to the sugar and starch and delicious food all around you. So let's chat about that, and I will see you again in another video. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here, Cedar. Oof. Okay, say bye. Say bye, Cedar.